Okay, now that we've completed the setup of our leg rig for the left leg, let's now turn and look at the arm. So let's go ahead and grab the goblin geometry, and let's go ahead and take a look at the arm. So we're going to be setting up the arm on the left hand side of our character, and again we need to determine the functionality that we want on our rig for the arm based on the needs of the animator. So let's say that the animator's looked at the motion that he needs to create, and he has determined that he wants both IK and FK for the arm. He still wants easy usable controls as before, and we still, because we're working for both the goblin and setting up a rig for the skeleton as well, we still need the ability for anything that's stretchy to lock and unlock that stretchiness. So we're going to be setting up the arm with FK and IK, allowing it to be stretchy and non-stretchy, and we need simple, easy, usable controls. So let's take a look at the FK controls that we'd set up on our arm. So let's say that that's our upper arm and that's our lower arm. We've seen that we have an FK controls tool that would set up controls on our arm. We could then come in and make sure that the elbow control only rotated on one axis, and that would give us our FK controls. We then want to come in and set up IK controls on that arm as well. So let's say that we had an arm, we had our IK handle, and then of course we're going to have some form of twist control. Now in this case I want the twist control to sit in front of the elbow, whereas with the leg we needed to sit in front of the knee. Since the elbow is going to bend back in that direction, we can actually have it sitting already on the twist axis, so we don't have quite as much work involved in getting the twist control set up. So that's our twist. This is our IK handle. And this would be our IK controls. Now it'd be very, very useful, if not essential, for the animator to be able to match FK to IK and IK to FK. Something we have looked at before on the Technical Rigging 3, where we looked at kinematics, but in this case it's going to be slightly different because we got some considerations with the fact that this eventually will become an encapsulated asset, so we have some considerations there. We also have considerations because now we're not dealing with a twist effector, we're dealing with a rotational twist control, so we're going to have to do some calculations where we work out what angle needs to be set on that rotation parameter to match our IK to our FK. So that's going to be our arm. We're also going to have, of course, the shoulder type setup. So we're going to have, if we had a front view, we'd have a clavicle bone going to our upper arm, going to our lower arm, and we're going to provide a shoulder control that acts to manipulate the clavicle bone, reorienting the clavicle bone, and then our arm will always attach to the end of the clavicle bone but maintain its orientation based on IK or FK. Now this clavicle can stretch if we have stretchiness enabled. It won't stretch if we don't have stretchiness enabled. In the same way, IK is going to be stretchy and allow stretching if stretchiness is enabled. In the exact same way as our leg had manual stretch parameters, we're actually going to provide manual stretch parameters on the upper and lower arm, and that's going to be for both IK and FK. So FK will have a set of stretchy parameters, IK will have a set of stretchy parameters. We'll blend back and forth between those, we'll match back and forth between those along with control locations and orientations. And we're going to deal with locking the stretchiness and allowing the stretchiness all over the next set of videos. Now we're going to talk about the wrist and the hand controls later. We're also going to be doing something very interesting with the lower arm. We're not going to have just a single lower arm bone, but again we're going to talk about that later after we have our wrist control in place. So for now, let's just focus on the arm. So that's going to be the setup of the arm itself with both FK and IK, both stretchy, both blendable and both matchable. And then we're going to deal with setting up the shoulder. And then from there, we'll take a look at what we're going to have in terms of wrist control, hand controls, and also then take a look at the something a little bit different that we're going to do with setting up the lower arm. But with that, that is going to conclude this overview of the arm itself. And we can get going, start creating this in the next video. Thanks a lot, everyone.